I mean, any government that has a people-centered approach to governance will always find itself implementing those programs at the same time. You understand? And so what is happening in Burkina Faso and even some of the Caribbean countries, I mean, we applaud them because these are people-centered policies and programs. And in Dominica, we just have to be more positive and constructive and be more appreciative.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Caribbean Spot. In today's video, yep, we're stopping in Dominica. Let's get into this video and I'll come back with my commentary at the end.
We look at Burkina Faso, and you mentioned that a while ago, and that the work done by the leader there, Ibrahim Traoré, and then you're saying that the developmental projects that you have in Dominica shadows or looks similarly or similar to that happening in Burkina Faso. Do you think that there's need for diplomatic relations with OCS, between OCS or Dominica with Burkina Faso?
In respect to some of the projects and programs that I see people talking about taking place in Burkina Faso, whether it's in housing or support to farmers or addressing access to education, you know, and I see some people glorifying it, but some people glorifying it, people criticize me for it. You know, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, any government that has a people-centered approach to governance will always find itself implementing those programs. Housing to people, access to education, access to healthcare, irrespective of who you are. You understand? And ensuring that you can lift people from the ground up, that there's no glass ceiling. You understand? And ensuring that the resources of the state is shared among the people. And to ensure that it is done in an equitable manner as far as practically possible. And where there are gaps that you feel you will move towards addressing those gaps and those deficiencies. I mean, this is what Labour Party has been about. And this is why, notwithstanding the criticism, not even within my own party sometimes, the people who believe that we should move away from those things. But you cannot move away from these things that have a direct impact on the way of life of the people. And if you go to a home, to a community, and you see a senior citizen or family living in a dilapidated condition, you know, because they're not nice to themselves, it's because they cannot afford it. And if they cannot afford it, what do you do? Do you tell them pray to God? Yes, they may be praying, and you might just be answered that God is sent to them. And if you fail, then what are you going to say to God when He comes to judge the living and the dead? So this is why I say we don't have a political responsibility to lifting people up. We have a biblical and Christian duty to do this. And so our commitment is not motivated by political consideration. So we all of us espouse a program of social reform and social development, lifting people up, and we have done so in practical ways. So you would see Patrick John building homes in Bathurst and Canefield, helping farmers and Eolibla and lifting people up. So the only times that you have seen those things, because that's the founding principle of the Labour Party. And this is also etched in our minds, in our spirit, in our psyche, from a biblical standpoint in the book of Matthew. You understand? And so it's costly, very costly. And so any government who wants to balance your books, you can just cut those things off and you have a surplus, you know. But a government is not in place only to balance its books. It must also help people balance their lives. And this is why we always say that we are responsive but responsible. So we don't take reckless decisions in the pursuit of helping people. You understand? Because if you take reckless decisions, then it's going to impact the system, and you cannot help the people the way that you can help them. And so these programs are important. They help. You always need to keep the community clean. You always need to take care of those who can't take care of themselves by providing caregivers to them. So these things will never go away by putting mentors in schools so that they can provide additional support to children who might be slow learners with their homework, with their research. These are the things that are impacting. And you have a small business owner who just started, and you want to get them some help so that they can sustain their investment and start making a profit and graduate out of the program, you give them some support. And so these programs and projects have been carefully thought of. This is part of a strategy, because development is not all about infrastructure; it's about human aspect of development. So you can have all of the infrastructure, if people are not able to take advantage of it, then so no benefit. So you have to make sure that both can be attended to at the same time. You understand? And so what is happening in Burkina Faso and even some of the Caribbean countries, I mean, we applaud them because these are people-centered policies and programs. And in Dominica, we just have to be more positive and constructive and be more appreciative.
Now listen, I have to be fair. Everything he just laid out sounds like what a people-centered government should be doing. Helping farmers, providing mentorship in schools, taking care of the elderly, giving dignity to the poor. That is what true leadership looks like. And if that is really what's happening in Dominica, then I'll say this plainly. That's commendable. That's what more Caribbean nations need to aspire to. But here's the problem. Too often in the region, we don't see country, we see party. Everything becomes about who's in power and which color you wear, not whether people's lives are actually getting better. So, while I'm not on the ground in Dominica to verify how deeply these initiatives are reaching the everyday citizen, we'll take the Prime Minister's word for now, or drop your comments in the comments below. Let's just see. If Dominica is truly operating as a people-first, development-driven government, then that's a good thing. That's something to build on. But this is not the reality across the Caribbean. Too many islands are still trapped in party-centered politics. They reward loyalty, not need. They take care of their own, so they say. You even hear that with the prime minister of different islands, right? Boldly, they make these statements. If you're us, if you're for us, we will take care of you. Really? Really? They invest in their own base, their party, their people. That's what they say. Their people. While the rest of the country suffers. They launch just enough small projects to say, look what we did. But behind the scenes, the people are still struggling. That's the real conversation. Because even if one island is making strides, the region as a whole still needs to wake up. We can't keep confusing programs with progress. Again, we can't keep confusing programs with progress. We can't keep confusing photo ops with policy change. You know those pictures you see they take out with, I built a house for so-and-so. We put a road down here. The projects, don't be fooled by the projects. Especially some of the projects. So this is a call. Let's stop being obsessed with which party is in power and start asking, is this government building the country? I'm going to say it again. Is this government building the country or just protecting the party? Caribbean people, this is what you need to ask. All islands, stand up. This is what you need to ask moving forward before you elect somebody in there. Are they only looking out for the green shirt, the blue shirt, the purple shirt, whatever shirt you guys have in the different islands? I don't really know. Right? Are they just looking out for their base? Or are they looking out for everybody? Is it country first? If they can't put country first, then pump your brakes. Go somewhere else, partner. Try somebody else. And if all your parties in your country just about themselves, then all in a bad condition. Choose the best of the worst of the evils. Whatever one you think would do the best, right? But it's time for you to get out of this party loyalty and start thinking country. because this party has been a hindrance to development. And this is where I see a clearly defined line between Caribbean politics and what I see going on in Burkina Faso. Because it's not about politics. It's not about party, right? It's about country, the people. You're there to serve. And that is what Ibrahim is doing. He's serving the people. He's developing the country. Not only the people that support him, because eventually they're going to benefit. That's the shift we need. That's the mindset Caribbean leadership must adopt if we're going to rise, not just in rhetoric, but in real transformation. Because the facts are clear. Trinidad is drowning in debt. A lot of the other islands also in that same boat. Youth unemployment is soaring across the region. Healthcare systems are failing the very people politicians claim to uplift. And don't forget the mess with the CBI programs, which tell a totally different story. These are not people-centered initiatives. No, because a lot of the leaders, the heads of state, benefited from this greatly, have mansions, more than one maybe, right? Billionaire status, millionaire status, all of a CBI program. They are elite-centered pipelines of wealth that bypass the grassroots and benefit only the powerful few. And across the region, governance more often than not is party-centered, not country-centered. Politicians promise equity but deliver exclusivity. They promise to serve all but reward only their base. And this is what makes them different from Ibrahim Traoré. He saw that same old donkey-style politics destroying Burkina Faso, where a few thrived while the majority suffered. The nation was crumbling, while politicians lounged in comfort, propped up by their deals that sold out the people's future for foreign favor and personal gain. And he had enough. He had enough. According to reports, it was this very frustration, this blatant injustice, the external pillaging of national resources, and the internal betrayal by leaders who had become pawns that led to the uprising. Ibrahim didn't rise to power to host cocktail receptions. He rose to power because the people were tired of being used. He refused to stand by any longer while those elected to serve the country, along with their big nations, pillage his land, tossing crumbs back in return for gold. Well, in our terms, same kind of process, right? Politicians in power, they're pillaging the treasuries as their personal piggy banks, using up the national lottery again as their personal piggy banks to fund their mansions that they're building, while the people just there clapping and praising and cheering them on, right? While the future of these nations are going down the drain. And they throw a little project over here and a little project over there. They build a little two stupid houses and they say, yeah, we're making progress. We party doing things. Wake up, Caribbean people. Wake up. That's not enough. Now ask yourself, where is that kind of fire in Caribbean politics today? That fire we see igniting in Burkina Faso, that have everybody in the diaspora, every black nation searching, looking towards Burkina Faso, shaking up our own people to say, hey, we can't go down so. We deserve better. Where is that fire in Caribbean politics today? Instead, we have scammers, liars, con men, wasteful spenders, people who go into politics to enrich themselves and their families. So when they leave politics, they have their big mansion, their millions in the bank, like if they could take it to the grave, right? All off of the backs of the people of the country who elected them to serve. And this is what Ibrahim saw, and he disliked it. Where are the people who have integrity, who would stand up and say enough is enough? The people deserve better. Our future generations, they deserve better. But instead, year after year, 4 years after 4 years, you elect the same old donkeys to be in power. The same old donkeys with the same old talk that manipulate you with the same old psychology, pull on your heartstrings, make you only see color and not the reality. Time for you people to wake up. Or you know what? So you make your bed, lie down in it. Wherever you want. We ain't here to force you. We don't need another press conference. We need vision, action, and bold confrontation of injustice. The Caribbean doesn't need more technocrats in suits. It needs reformers. It needs prophetic voices. It needs men and women who are not afraid to lose power if it means gaining justice for their people. Because right now, we're seeing leaders who live in mansions built off of the backs of the same people they claim to serve. How dare you? We're seeing policies passed not to serve the country, but to protect friends, donors, and foreign handlers. My Caribbean people, I rest my case. We deserve better. We should demand better. And now that we are more knowledgeable of what good leadership looks like, stop being bamboozled by those party animal tricks, by these heads of tails. Stop being tricked by these heads of tails, because all they're telling us is tales. You know what's sad? That despite seeing your prime minister or your president robbing the country blind, many of you would join in and help him or her rob the people, rob future generations. That's how nasty some of you guys are. But anyway, that's all I have for now. Gotta go. See you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, share, leave a comment in the comments below. And if you have any information about Dominica, right, what's happening on the ground in Dominica, send it in. We're waiting. Bye.